All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, the man is back. Geek Corner with Logan Lee. I'm so excited
The
because I
cinematic
talked to
quality,
myself.
the cinematic quality on that video intro is just spot
It,
on, Steve.
that's what free gets you.
Would you
Free
make that
makes that.
and make that in PowerPoint?
We Video is a great thing.
Oh, that's great. I love it. How you doing, sir? It's good to talk
I'm
to
good.
you.
I'm burnt out right now, but I have plenty of time for Wandavision talk.
That's what we're here for. We got
That's all.
we got
Is that
plenty we got plenty to talk about, and I'm going to use this as an opportunity for you to vent because I know I know that there are certain things that are going to be on your mind, and I just cannot wait to just sit here and listen and be your out to discuss your frustrations. And yeah, so I'm here for it, man. I'm here for it.
because I'm determined, or I was dedicated. I had to take my car in this morning. There was a recall, so I took it in this
Hmm.
morning. They said it was going to take an hour and a half. I looked how long the WandaVision episode was,
Yeah.
and I just watched it there. I'm dedicated.
While getting your car fixed?
Yes. Yes. Can you hear me better now?
Yeah, a little bit. Had to get some adjusting. So you watched it while you were getting your car fixed?
Yep. I had my phone out and I sat there and watched it. And then there was times I had to lean over. I'm like, what's going on?
I'm not sure that's the place that I would want to watch it, but you know what? You did it, and you have seen it now, and that's all that matters.
I had other things to do. So I said, all right, I'm going to sit here for an hour and a half and I can stare at the wall or
Uh-huh.
I can watch this. But the problem was when I watched it and it was over, I put my phone down and I was like, I have to vent. And I'm in a car dealership. I wanted to go to the old lady to the left and be like, hey,
Did you watch
you watch
WandaVision
Disney?
yet? Oh, well, I'm sorry that you didn't have that person to talk to until now. But I will be that person for you, Steve.
At least it's now and not like a week from now.
No, I agree. I
Because
agree.
like I said, I'm tired. Basketball
Mm-hmm.
practice from 3 to 5, and then football 5:30 to 8:30, and just exhausted.
Yeah.
And last night was 18 degrees. I just now can feel my feet again. And then these guys up in Chicago are like, Steve, why are you so cold? I'm like, I'm from Central Illinois where it's not this
Eight,
wind.
18 degrees, really?
It was probably like 20 or 20-ish at night. I mean, we practiced until 8:30 at night. So by the time 8 o'clock rolls
Yeah,
around, it's
that's
about
true.
20 some.
It's gonna be like 60 degrees next week.
Oh, thank God.
I mean, I don't know what it'll be at 8:30 when you're practicing, but at
Well,
least hit 60
these
degrees in the middle of the day sometime.
these first 2 weeks we have to practice later because basketball's going on, and so we're trying to
Right.
make it work. So this week and next week will be rough, and then we'll get into a groove for 2 or 3 weeks, and then baseball and track will start.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm just saying I'm dedicated. So
I
there's a
I know you're a dedicated individual. You always have been.
to a fault to a point. So spoilers. Well, first of all, Logan, I want you to promote your podcast because you're leaving me.
Absolutely.
You're leaving me. You're signing a new contract.
I am not leaving you, Steve. And I told you that from the beginning. I'm still more than happy to come on and have Geek Corner with you. But yeah, you've kind of inspired me. My buddy Craig and I decided to finally get a podcast rolling, something we've talked about for a while. So we've done it. So we have 2 episodes in the can. It's called No One Asked Us. And we're gonna talk about sports and movies and TV and whatever comes up. So we kicked it off with right in the heart of Illinois basketball. So that's been on our minds a lot with the Big Ten tournament coming up and then the national tournament following that. So we'll talk plenty of baseball as baseball season gets underway, and then movies and Marvel shows and whatever the case may be. So I'm still more than happy to jump on here and talk about geeky stuff with you. I'm not going to talk about Walking Dead with you. I'm sorry. You're going to have to
I'm
find
the only one.
somebody else to talk about that with. But when it comes to the Marvel stuff or the Star Wars stuff or whatever the case may be, I'll still be on here with you. But yeah, no one asked us. We'll have at least one episode a week, and come check us out.
That's a great title too. When I saw it, I was like, "This is perfect."
We had a long list of titles. We couldn't quite narrow it down. We wanted it to be something that was original. It's hard to find an original podcast in the original title in the podcast realm anymore. But we like the idea of it because literally nobody asked us to do this. We were just decided to do it on our own. So one of those things where we were constantly texting and talking back and forth about all sorts of subjects. So we just decided we may as well put our thoughts out there for the world, similar to what you've been doing as well. So as I've said, you have been my inspiration for doing this. And I do mean that with every ounce of my being. Like, it's been great to see what you've done and what you've built from just you talking football by yourself to you talking football with Brad Miller, to you talking football with football coaches across the state and across the country, and to now branching off and talking pop culture and talking Marvel and Walking Dead and everything. It's been cool to see you do that. So proud of you for what you've taken it, and thank you for helping to inspire those of us that need a little kick in the butt.
The only person I've inspired in my life is Logan Lee. No player cares what I have to say.
That's not true.
But
yes,
The Walking Dead's not going to take off. That was a stupid idea on my part. But you know
it's
what?
not a stupid idea. There's definitely people out there that watch it. I don't know. Are you like? And I know we got to get into like the WandaVision stuff, but are you like talking about like the new episodes, or like what are you trying to do?
I would love to just do the new episodes, and I was looking into it. You can reach out to like reporters that work on it, and I want to like email them and say, because there's only like one or two Walking Dead podcasts, actually. There's really nothing. But the problem is you only have one season left after this.
Right. Well, what I was going to say is I actually don't think that is a problem, because I think with a show like that, you honestly might have more success doing it as a rewatch type thing. Going back and rewatching it from the beginning, talking about each episode, do one episode a week where you watch the episode and then you talk about the episode and kind of dissect it a little bit. I mean, that's the stuff, that's what people were watching. They may not be watching the new season, but back when that show was at its peak time, I mean, it was a big show. So I think you're on the right path. I obviously think you keep going with the new episodes and doing what you want to do there. But once that's over, I just started from the beginning. One episode a week. You watch the episode, you talk about the episode, you dissect the episode, you critique the episode, and then that's it. And you might develop a following from there. Look at me, executive producer.
Right. I thought of that, but then I was like, I kind of want to talk about the new episode because...
Well, you should right now.
Right. Well, because it sucks because there's 6 episodes coming out because COVID changed it. So they got these 6 extra episodes. So it's season 10C, essentially. And so they only got 5 left. And then Fear the Walking Dead. Well, see, then Fear Walking Dead comes back. That's a whole nother thing that I could do. And then you have the third one called The Walking Dead World Beyond. Now, there's only 2 seasons, so the second one's coming out. I know we have to get into Wandavision, but now you got me on The Walking Dead.
There's plenty of stuff to talk about in The Walking Dead.
Well, the only thing, The Walking Dead World Beyond before COVID, they're supposed to have 2 to 3 movies. And I think that was kind of the way they were going to end it. Those movies in the last season. This third spinoff they did is supposed to set up those movies, kind of like WandaVision and setting up Doctor Strange. Yes.
Were they going to be like theatrical movies, or like the Breaking Bad El Camino, we're going to release this to AMC 10 years later movie? That wasn't a bad movie, but it wasn't like
We heard both. At first we heard Netflix, because The Walking Dead, that's where they go after TV is Netflix. Then we heard they were in talks with like an AMC to be released in theaters. That's how
Gotcha.
big they were going to be. But then COVID happened, and Andrew Lincoln lives in London, so it was just really hard to figure out the filming.
Right. Got it.
So, but then season 11 is going to be 24 episodes, so there's just a lot going on with it still.
Of course.
And I just love Jeffrey Dean Morgan. Like, I'm the only one that watches The Walking Dead. He's brought the comic book character to life in a way nobody has, and it's just a great act. Like, he's perfect. It's like I told you before, you watch Rampage and he's in that. That is his character in The Walking Dead, like that asshole thing.
Yeah.
And he beat the guy in the head with a bat, and they showed it on TV. It was just the eyeball popping on TV. It was just something. Oh, well.
I'm happy. I'm happy for you, Steve. Happy for you. Let's get into WandaVision.
So,
Spoilers.
Spoilers for WandaVision. You haven't watched it yet. That's what Brad says. He'll text me like, I can't listen to what you guys say because I have to watch it. Or I have to text him. That's my job. I have to text him and tell him if there's a credit scene. So I texted him this morning. I said, there's 2.
Yeah.
So I was on the edge of my seat the whole time. This finale was probably the best one, maybe. I would think the best episode they had.
I've seen very mixed reactions from it, but go on. I want to hear.
I mean, from the action, we finally got like
I
action
wanna hear
Marvel
your
stuff.
thoughts.
I was just glad we got action Marvel stuff, like fight scenes.
Right.
It did open up some things. It answered some questions, but it's opened up more questions. The big one for me that pissed me off was Pedro. What was his name? Boner. That pissed me off a little bit. When they showed them, I got mad. I was like, okay, we're gonna find out. And then they showed it. And I'm like,
yeah,
Marvel. I hope we'll get into. I'm trying to figure out how this even connects to Doctor Strange besides the magic. And I have some theories. But maybe he is from the multiverse, and we'll find out this is just his version in this. And he'll be back. Because this was a jerk move for Marvel to do, just to bring him as a character whose last name is Boner.
Yeah.
That really irked me.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it irked you because that was one thing we talked about before. And that's what people are mad.
I have some thoughts.
People are mad about that.
I have some thoughts.
They're going by the comic book with White Vision because in the comic book, White Vision gets the memories of everything, but he's emotionless. He's not the same.
Mm-hmm.
And so Wanda had to deal with that in the comic book. So it looks like later on she'll have to deal with that because he took off. My theory, because I'm going to jump around. I'm jumping around. I loved the end where it shows her reading the book. I can't remember her astro form. Is that what it's called?
Yeah,
I think because that's from Doctor Strange. He did the same thing. And that's what he's taught. My theory is he taught her to do that. She just didn't do that. Someone had to teach Doctor Strange how to do that. So my theory is either in Spider-Man or in the Doctor Strange, he's the one that's going to like teach her because they've hinted at it where she goes, no one's taught me magic.
Right.
So maybe he's going to teach her.
Right.
But then it also scares me because what did she say? Like your powers are more than the Sorcerer Supreme when she was reading that book. And that's Doctor Strange now. It wasn't in the movie. In the movie, it was what's her face? The Ancient One. But now it's Doctor Strange. So they keep hinting at her powers are supposed to be more. So that's like a threat. But then is Doctor Strange going to train her? I don't know. That's the only... I got mad for the Pedro and no Doctor Strange reference. No, nothing. Besides Sorcerer Supreme and then the very end. Very upsetting. I didn't need to see Benedict Cumberbatch. I came to that conclusion a long time ago. I just needed to know, like, are they going to get hold of him? How is this going to work? I don't know.
Yeah, I'm with you. I had a few thoughts immediately after, and I've obviously had some time to think about it since I watched it this morning. My first initial reaction to the show as a whole was that I thought it was really well done. Not every episode was the. I mean, there were some weaker episodes amongst the bunch, but I thought it was very well done. I think I had a certain. I don't want to say that I came out of it disappointed because that's not right. But I think I had dove so much into the theories, into the what could be, into I spent so much time watching theory videos, whether it's from new rock stars or whether it's from Brandon Davis or whether it's from whoever that spend their time theorizing that they're going off of the comic books. They're not making stuff up. They're not pulling stuff out of thin air. But I think I spent so much time into that world that by the time it ended, as great as the show was, and as great even as the final episode was, I think I was still a little let down just because I think I was expecting a little bit more to happen. And that's not on Marvel. That's not on Kevin Feige. That's not on Jack Schaefer. That's not on Matt Shackman. That's not on any of them. That's on me, and that's on the people that had watched so much this stuff and expected so much to happen that we just didn't get to that point. But I do think I was very surprised by the fact of how self-contained it was. I think, well, part of this goes back to the theory point that I just made. But I was just expecting there to be a lot of loose ends by the end of it. I just kind of went into this episode thinking this isn't really going to resolve anything. I think that's one of the bigger things I was expecting. More so than certain characters to show up or certain cameos to take place. I think I was just expecting there to be a lot of loose ends at the end of it. And there wasn't. They really tied a lot of it up. Now, certainly, it sets things up for future movies and all that stuff, which I understand that was going to happen regardless. But I think so much of the story was resolved more so than I was expecting. So, not that that's a good or a bad thing. That's just what it was. It's just how it worked. And then to go back to, you talked about the Pietro thing. I've had some issues with this because I still don't know what they were thinking, and I'm not sure that it's necessarily over. But you have to, either they were just like naive to the point where they didn't think the fans would actually look into this too much, or they were just really playing with us to bring him in there, to bring Evan Peters into this show. And it's not so much that they brought him in, but it's the fact that we've already teased the multiverse in one of these movies, in the last Spider-Man movie. We know there's a movie entitled Multiverse of Madness, which not only stars Doctor Strange, but also Wanda. We know that's coming. Then for you to bring in Evan Peters from this other universe, and then for it to amount to nothing, like I don't know that that's totally over. I would not be surprised if something else comes of this in a future movie or show or something. But like, I don't want it to seem like I was disappointed because I wasn't. I just, as a self-contained show, I thought it was fantastic. And it does set up some of the great things for the future of the universe. But there was several things that it just made too much sense to not be featured in this show or to not go that direction, and they just didn't do it. And I think at the end of the day, underwhelmed is probably a better word to describe how I felt. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at.
Yeah, after I watched it, I finally looked at social media, and one of the first things that popped up was the director and all that were like, "Oh, the fans are going to be so mad that these theories didn't happen."
Yeah, I thought about that too, and I'm not a big TV guy. There are a lot of TV shows that I watch. I watched Game of Thrones, and I was watching the last season in real time. However, I had not really been involved in the Game of Thrones world up until a few months prior to that. In fact, I had caught up with the very last episode of the second to last season hours before I started, or hours before the first episode of the last season aired. So I can understand why you'd have these years of build up and all this time to have theories and things for it to be let down at the end. And that's kind of where I'm at with this show. And it wasn't even that I was let down, and it's not that I had years of build up for this. I just when the director said that, or whoever it was, that's where I go back to what I was saying. I don't know. I don't know if they just didn't think that the fans would think too much into this stuff, or who knows. It could be. There's a lot of factors at play here. I think that certainly the order in which some of these shows were released might have had something to do with this. I think there's certainly the fact that a large portion of the world is still locked up in their homes and have nothing, myself included. I don't leave my house. My job is to be at home and to work from home. So if I had more things going on in my life, I maybe wouldn't give as much thought to some of these things. And I'm not saying that that's necessarily the case for all these creators out in the world, like YouTube creators and stuff that are, building up this discourse, because that's some of them what they actually get paid to do is to do that stuff. But I just think a lot of it comes there's a variety of factors that I think go into this, and I think they were right. I mean, I think a lot of people were probably going to be let down by this episode, which is this case for a lot of TV shows. Let's be honest. Very rarely does a TV show end and it has a unanimous applause. Like, that's just not a thing. Like, if you have a passionate fan base, when a show ends, you're going to have a lot of people that are happy with it. You're going to have a lot of people that are mad. That's just the nature of TV.
Kind of like you and I were with How I Met Your Mother when that ended.
I think about that often. Yes.
Because that is still the only show where if it was like, I will put that on if I have nothing else to watch. If I just don't feel like starting something new, I put it on and just listen to it.
I haven't gone back and revisited that show.
Oh, I have.
Since it first aired. But yeah, I remember when that finale came out. I had a lot of thoughts on that too. Ugh.
The only show I can think of where I was okay with it was Breaking Bad before the movie came out. Breaking Bad, there was no other way that was going to end.
Yeah.
And they did it perfectly. They didn't stretch it out too far. Like 5 seasons was perfect. But maybe The Sopranos, but that's about it. But right. And then it's hard to look at this as a TV show because it's like, you're going to go into a movie now. Like, this was just a setup.
Yeah.
So I've told myself with Falcon and the Winter Soldier, I don't know if there'll be many theories coming from that one because I don't know what movie that leads into.
I don't know.
I do think it's because we're all at home. That was another part of it, is that we're at home.
I think that's a large part of it. I really do.
I think it's because we're at home, and I think it's because we didn't have the normal releases. There was supposed to be stuff released before this.
We haven't had the big movies to talk about.
Right. And then
by the time when they created Wandavision, by the time that Wandavision was originally supposed to come out, we would have by now already seen Black Widow, Shang-Chi, the Eternals, Falcon and Winter Soldier, at least, and maybe even more. I don't know where it was supposed to sit in the timeline, but like that's what we were supposed to have seen by the time this show airs. So again, I think there's a lot of factors that go into it.
Well, then
You
someone
just gotta take it for what it is.
Then someone put a picture up, and I just put it up before this, where it showed the original release, and it just shows WandaVision, and it said spring of 2021, and then Doctor Strange May of 2021. So it was like as soon as WandaVision ends,
supposed to lead right into it. Yeah.
And now we have to wait till 2022, hopefully.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's another part, because we would have been so distracted with all the other stuff. It might have explained more. Who knows? Then it is comicbook.com's fault, because they're the one with the comic book knowledge. So when they put that stuff out there, then people like me read it, and then I go read something else, and I'm like, yeah. I hope we see Agatha again. This is where I'm getting a little confused, but like I hope we do see her.
I think we will. I think that the way they set that up, I think she's going to show up, because we've made Wanda into a very much a focal point of this universe. I think that's what you're gonna. I think you're gonna see more of that, more of her. And I think you're gonna see more of Agatha as well.
And then, so what we saw, we kind of can conclude that necessarily is not. It's not the multiverse, but it kind of is. She kind of created her own different world, but it was a spell, kind of.
Yeah. I thought we would get more explanation of multiverse and or mutants. But we didn't really get either of those things. Not that I was expecting mutants to show up necessarily, but I thought we would get some sort of introduction of some sort into that, and we didn't.
Now, does that world still exist then? Because she has Agatha trapped there, apparently. And then at the end, when she's reading the book, you hear her kid scream out for help. So is that actually a world she's created and moved?
I don't know.
Is this why Doctor Strange gets involved? Either he's helping her or he figures that out?
I think Mephisto's still involved.
Okay.
I just don't. Granted, I kept expecting to see that character show up during the show, and he never did. I just have a hard time thinking that that's not going to be a plot line somewhere. I'm not sure when. I'm not sure if that means multiverse of madness. I don't know when, because that's the other thing too. When I look at their upcoming slate of movies, like if these characters aren't showing up in the new Doctor Strange movie next year, I don't know when the hell they're supposed to show up. Because, I mean, Captain Marvel, we kind of know where that movie's going to go. I mean, that's going to be Monica and Carol Danvers with the Skrulls. I mean, we know their slate of upcoming movies, and I don't know where else some of these things are going to tie in. So, if some of these things aren't resolved or come up again during either Spider-Man or Doctor Strange, then I'm not sure when they will. But who knows? It could be years from now, and we could revisit some of these storylines. But the whole Agnes thing or Agatha thing, as I said, if she doesn't show up in Doctor Strange, which I'm not saying that she will, I'm not sure when else she would for a while.
I do kind of like how it ended, because I know way before I was kind of hoping like, Krasinski would show up or Strange would show up, and if they showed up, it kind of ends that way. Yeah. But then I thought about it this morning. You still got to get through Spider-Man, and I'm trying to put the timeline together, because WandaVision is 3 weeks after everyone comes back from the snap. Spider-Man is 8 months after. So now the timeline's making more sense to me, because if WandaVision would have ended and it's supposed to immediately start Doctor Strange, the timeline wouldn't have matched up because he's in Spider-Man for a little bit. So I am kind of glad the way it ended, kind of, to where it's not like it has to immediately go into that movie.
Well, I don't know when this other Spider-Man movie is supposed to take place too. Are we just assuming that it's supposed to be like right after Far From Home?
Maybe because it comes
Far
out, what,
From
in
Home-
December?
Far From Home is the one that takes place 8 months after WandaVision. It's not even this new one. I don't know where New Way Home falls into this.
Yeah, I don't know. I was trying to put it together. Maybe it does go right into Doctor Strange, and Doctor Strange supposedly sets up Spider-Man, and it's just like Marvel's done that before.
I don't know.
Well, and then of course they released the photos from No Way Home, and it shows Peter and his friend and the girl standing in that thing. And of course, comicbook.com goes, "This looks similar to Doctor Strange's place." And I'm like, well,
you and I just need to just get off of the theory interwebs.
I've decided I need to.
We just need to get out of that hole because there's just too much there, and people just have way too much time on their hands, and occasionally they're right. But I mean, that's what I did. That's what I did for the last 2 months. Is after I watched the episode on Friday, while I was eating lunch or whatever, I would just go through and watch theory videos and see what people were talking about, and then I would do that all weekend, and then I would do that leading up to the show the following Friday. And some of the theories turned out to be right, but some of them clearly weren't.
But
so
they weren't too far-fetched. I think that's why we fell into them. And we're like, because at the time it was episode 4 when a lot of these were coming out. Like, they have plenty of time to slip these in there.
Yeah.
There's still a lot of questions. I don't know if that world is created and she just, because when she put Agatha in there and they were going to live in that house and the thing was collapsing, I thought, oh, it's just going to collapse to the house, like to that little block, to where Agatha can stay there and they live in that world. And then I was thinking in my head, oh, this is what sets up the multiverse stuff, because now she is like opened a tear and this is how this happens. And maybe if she sets up a tear, this is how the Spider-Man stuff comes in. Because you have to, before this, the reporter from the Spider-Mans we grew up in, the guy that was the newspaper guy,
J. Jonah Jameson, yes.
Because last time we talked, I hadn't watched Spider-Man
Far From
Home, and so I have, and I saw him. I was like, wait a minute, he's in the other Spider-Mans. But now that they did the Pedro thing, I'm like, well, I can't put it past them to just to bring him on.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what they're doing with any of this multiverse stuff. What's multiverse? What's not multiverse? I don't know.
Peter Holland's tripling down on how he's the only. They don't have McGuire or anything like that in Far From Home or No Way Home.
The only thing that I know for certain that we have seen that has come out of the fact that Disney owns Fox is now we are referring to Wanda as the Scarlet Witch.
Mm-hmm.
Wanda was not called the Scarlet Witch because that was a mutant property. Disney, I believe, I could be wrong, but I believe Disney was able to somehow get the rights to Quicksilver and Wanda, but they couldn't refer to, I don't know, they couldn't use the superhero names. So, but we finally have that. So I think that's a direct correlation to the fact that Disney owns Fox, but any of the other multiverse stuff that I keep expecting to happen, I got nothing. I have no idea.
Nope, I've got a lot of thoughts.
And who knows? Who knows if Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield are showing up in this next Spider-Man movie? We are supposed to get villains from other movies.
From the same characters.
I don't know.
Or actors.
I need to stop thinking about it too much.
I know. The only thing I can come up with is that Wanda has done this and has torn something in time in a multiverse, because Oh, last time we talked, you said there was something in Spider-Man Far From Home that you thought of that correlates when we were watching WandaVision. And I was trying to figure out what it was.
Well, I mean, the Jameson thing that hit when he shows up at the end. I mean, that was that in my mind, and I don't know that this has been proven, and I don't know if this is going to be true or not. But if Far From Home took place after WandaVision, if WandaVision did somehow open up some sort of multiverse, then that would explain why a character from a different universe of Spider-Man would appear in this movie. But that was also when I was expecting that WandaVision would somehow dip into the multiverse, and we have really yet to do that. So I don't know.
But
I don't know.
But then you have, Jack Gyllenhaal's character when he was faking being the Mysterio. He goes, "Yeah, I'm from a multiverse where this happens," and that's why I texted you that one day. I was like, "What if he is working with Sword, and that's how he figures out there is a multiverse, and he was doing that?" Like, I was just trying to think of like he worked for Tony Stark, so how would he think about multiverse? Like, where would that come up? And that movie was trippy. Far From Home.
Yeah.
It was a little trippy. And especially at the end when Fury wasn't Fury.
Mm-hmm.
It was the Skrulls. That one threw me for a loop. But then it made sense for WandaVision, so thank God I watched Far From Home. Because now we know where she's going. Now we know where she's going to go off to.
Yep.
But Fury's on vacation.
I'm assuming you watched Captain Marvel.
Yes. Yep.
Okay. So you understand the whole Skrull thing.
I love the Skrull, the main guy, that actor who plays him. That's perfect comedy for me. That's
I agree.
No, I've twice.
That was the aerospace engineer. The girl Skrull that Monica was talking to it during that. I'm pretty certain because that's the same girl that she was playing with at the end of Captain Marvel.
Okay, yeah.
Well, they're on the stairs. Well, you just watched Captain Marvel a few days ago. They're playing on the stairs towards the end of the movie. It's a younger girl Skrull. Yep. Pretty sure that's the same person, and that's the. I imagine that's the aerospace engineer that we're referring to. Not Reed Richards. Sorry.
But wouldn't it be cool if
you do get A Quiet Place too, though? So you do get some sort of John Krasinski coming up here in May.
I don't watch horror movies. I don't.
Quiet Place is good. I'm not a big horror movie person either, but you watch The Walking Dead.
It's not as bad. It's not.
It's got zombies.
But it's not on your seat. Am I gonna like? I don't know. It's weird. Like
I'm not a big horror movie person. I usually watch one or two a year. The ones that I know are supposed to be pretty good, and usually they are good. A Quiet Place was really good. So, but anyway, that's your John Krasinski film. Actually, I don't know that he'll be in it because I don't know. He's directing it though, so.
Because that's his wife, right? Who plays
Emily Blunt is his wife, yes. Who I was expecting to also be in Fantastic Four, but it's probably not going to happen.
Or Jennifer Lawrence.
Somebody a little younger, and they'll probably go with Jennifer Lawrence and somebody else. I know John Krasinski wants to be in the Marvel Universe. He wanted to be Captain America. He's had some sort of discussions with Feige about doing something. So I'm still not ruling it out. Did
you see Brandon Davis tweet at him saying like, John Krasinski just sat there watching us all have these theories and never once stepped in to correct us.
Mm-hmm.
No, today's my last theory day because I'm going to have a migraine from it. I was just kind of hoping.
I was going to say that. You're going to give yourself a headache.
Before you said that was the space engineer or whoever, I was kind of hoping maybe we would see him in Captain Marvel 2, maybe, like helping Fury build that thing up there. That would be really nice if that's kind of how... He doesn't have to be the superhero, but kind of introduce him like he just shows up.
I mean, I'm gonna get off the Krasinski theory. Not to say that I don't think it's still on the table, because we obviously know the Fantastic Four is coming, and it makes all the sense in the world to cast John Krasinski and even Emily Blunt. But I'm just gonna step away from that and refocus my life to something else. So, yeah.
Yeah, but I know I promised you not to talk about Doctor Strange, but I couldn't help in this episode when they were doing all the magic stuff, and I was disappointed
that he didn't show up.
because I thought it was happening.
I was really surprised that he didn't show up. Actually,
I was surprised he did show up.
There literally was no cameo in this show.
No.
Not only was Paul Bettany was absolutely referring to himself.
That asshole.
And there was nobody else showed up. No John Krasinski. No Benedict Cumberbatch. We had no Patrick Stewart. We had no Michael Fassbender. I heard Dick Van Dyke as a name as a possible cameo. Danville legend Dick Van Dyke would show up. Everybody had a theory for what celebrity was going to cameo in this show. Al Pacino, I heard his name. Not one. Not a single person showed up in the show that wasn't already in there in the first couple episodes.
Dick Van Dyke kind of did when they showed his TV show.
Right. Yes. Right.
No,
yes.
I had gotten over the fact because you had said something, and then Brad's like, Steve, we both need to stop. Because Brad loves Doctor Strange. That's where it comes from.
Yeah.
We both are, we kind of have to stop. And I was like, you're right. I was just waiting for him to be referenced, at least. They built this up to where this is a tee off to Doctor Strange. This is going right into it. You have to reference him. And but Sorcerer Supreme, they could be talking about him. They can talk about the Ancient One. Can I throw you another theory from Endgame and Infinity War?
Absolutely. That's why we're here.
The snap didn't kill everybody. They didn't get killed. They got sent somewhere else.
Yeah, inside a stone.
Because when the Ancient One looked ahead in time in Doctor Strange movie, when she died, she saw the storm. She said when she would look forward in time, that's the last thing she could see all the time. And they said that's because that's when she was going to die. You can't see past time because you're not there. So when Doctor Strange was looking, he saw what was going to happen 5 years later. And they said, how could he do that if he was dead from the snap? So they never. So then my question was, does he know this Wanda stuff is happening, and that's why they didn't bring him over, because he knows?
Well, maybe. I don't know that I totally buy into the whole. I think he could see the future or the past regardless if he's alive or not. I think that's probably a part of his abilities.
Well, that's just the time stone, because they brought that up with the Ancient One from the movie. You'll have to watch it when she says that. She's like, every time I've jumped through time, it leads me to this point, and I can't see any further.
I need to watch it again. I'm going through and watching them all. I'm only a couple of them, and we just did in timeline order. We just did Iron Man, so we're only 3 in. I'll get to it eventually again, but could be, yeah. I mean,
because Peter Parker, when he gets to Tony, he goes, yeah, I was asleep for a long time, and then I finally wake up, and Doctor Strange immediately is like, we got to go. And so that was a theory that was brought up, was if they stuck to that, the time stone's not supposed to let him see past of when you're gone.
Yeah.
And so they said, how could he see, what was going to happen?
Right.
Which obviously now he can't anymore because the time stone's gone.
Right.
Maybe he knew this Wanda stuff was going to happen, and that's why he didn't. Maybe, I don't know, but the Spider-Man movie is supposed to be huge. His Doctor Strange movie is supposed to blow up, because we're not just talking about Wanda. That Mordor guy who at the end of Doctor Strange said there's too many sorcerers, he's supposed to be like the villain. And so this is where I'm curious, is Wanda going to be a villain? Is she going to be is it going to be her and him?
I don't know that she'll be the villain. I don't know that she'll necessarily be the good guy either.
Unless he's training her, because they reference that when she said that line of, I don't have magic, I don't do this, nobody's ever taught me magic.
I could see it being some sort of storyline where he's kind of training her, helping her out a little bit, and she goes rogue for who knows what reasons. I still, as I said, I don't think Mephisto's gone, and her kids are obviously still in play here. So I think that that's probably going to be your storyline somewhere. That I think Mephisto will be involved and have the kids or do something along those lines.
They keep saying Mephisto or Nightmare. Nightmare's a
Could be.
Doctor Strange
Yeah.
like
It could
villain.
be. But I think the kids in the comics come from Mephisto.
Okay.
And there's the reference to Demon Spawn that Pietro makes during one of the episodes. He calls him Demon Spawn, and there's a few references to the devil that I'm not ruling that out, and I think that because as I said, I think that's technically where the kids come from, as they're technically a part of Mephisto somehow. So I don't know. That's my theory. What a better way to have because they've said that Multiverse of Madness is going to be a horror-ish movie. What's more horror than having the actual devil in your movie? So
be like
I guess
Lucifer.
Nightmare could also be that, but
there could be multiple villains. It could be Mephisto and that Mordor guy. Mordor, since he's a sorcerer, he could bring up Mephisto. He could be the one that's like, we got to get rid of Strange, and then like you said, it could go both ways. It could be Strange and Wanda work together, and then when Strange figures out who she is, he's threatened because in that book it talked about how she's supposed to be this thing, and he could be like, oh. And then and then again, I get into these damn theories. They showed the Ancient One's bookcase from Doctor Strange, and a book is missing with that same symbol that Agatha had that now that Wanda has.
Yeah.
And so that's how. So maybe Strange figures out who she is. Then I'm also worried anybody that gets close to Wanda dies. If they kill Benedict Cumberbatch, I am suing Feige.
I don't think that's happening, Steve.
He doesn't have. They talked about his contract's not very long.
They're not going to kill Doctor Strange.
But I would love to see a Olsen sister versus Benedict Cumberbatch showdown.
Like any Olsen sister? Can it be Mary Kate?
I mean, they could do a cameo with their clothesline and stuff showing up in New York.
Oh, yeah. Did you see my tweet yesterday about that?
I did, and I started laughing. I'm in the car listening to your guys' podcast, and it got brought up, and I just started laughing. I was like, yeah. And
they really should have leaned into it more.
She kind of looked like them in this final episode. There was some line she said, and I was like, oh yeah, you can see it.
Yeah.
Because she's only 30? She's not even 30.
Yeah, she's around our age. Yeah.
Yeah. So I have a lot.
She's younger than Mary Kate and Ashley. So
I have another question. This is off WandaVision.
Okay.
There's obviously going to be another Avengers movie.
They will never stop making Avengers movies. Elizabeth Olsen is 32. She was born in 89. Lizzie Olsen.
Lizzie Olsen, who is now, I don't know if she's bigger than them, but she's.
I mean, I don't know that she'll ever well, I mean, right now, because her sisters haven't been in the public spotlight in 20 years.
Well,
so.
Cocaine's a hell of a. Cocaine's a hell of a drug.
She's not worth as much as them, but yeah. Anyway, go on. Avengers.
Who's gonna be the new leader? You don't have Tony. You don't have Captain America. Do you even need a leader?
I don't know that a leader is necessary. I mean, I think they were kind of setting it up to be Spider-Man. But I mean, I don't know. His contract is also up. I don't think there's any chance that they don't come up with a new one.
They will.
I could see Tom Holland now. I mean, Robert Downey Jr. did his 3 Iron Man movies, and then he just showed up in other movies and was in Avengers movies, and he was in Captain America movies. He was in Spider-Man movies. I don't know that there's necessarily going to be a leader. I mean, they have a lot of options. I don't know.
I mean, it should be Thor, but with him out in space doing his own thing. Because that was someone else brought that up. They were like, "Did you see that article?" It was like, "Okay, where are the other Avengers during this thing? How do they not know this is going on?" And you and I talked.
I say that every time. Like during every single one of these movies, like where are the other Avengers? Like, I mean, if this was really that big of a deal, like why aren't they all here?
I mean, technically, it should be Thor. But
I don't know that there necessarily needs to be a leader per se. I think they are setting up a new Avengers or a young Avengers. I think
with the
they're going to start introducing younger characters into some of these shows and movies, because the young Avengers includes both Tommy and Billy, and it includes Scott Lang's daughter and Kate Bishop, who's Haley Steinfeld in the new Hawkeye show. I mean, they're setting up a lot of these younger characters, so I can imagine that there could be some sort of thing eventually with them. I don't know when you'll see the next Avengers movie or who all will be involved in that. If I had to pick a leader, I would say it's still Spider-Man. I could see it being Doctor Strange, because he kind of has the Tony role a little bit, but he's not as big of a name as he is. I don't think that him or his character is a big enough draw to be like the headliner. But I mean, I don't know that it's really necessary. If you're having a big team up movie of 15 stars, I don't think it really matters that. I mean, Robert Downey Jr. is a big name, but he also became an even bigger name because he was Iron Man. So I don't know.
Yeah, Benedict Cumberbatch was already like a big name when they brought him on.
You're going to have a lot of movies and TV shows before you see another Avengers style team up movie. So there could be a lot of things happen between now and then.
Right.
But if I'm going to put my money on anybody that's on the table right now, it would be Spider-Man.
Well, I was kind of hoping Strange would be like watching over Peter a little bit, because they both live in New York.
He might be. I mean, we know he's at least supposed to show up supposedly in the new one. So, I mean, yeah, it probably would make sense. He's still young, but I don't know how long we can keep playing the teenage story here. I mean, eventually Spider-Man has to grow up and become an adult. So,
well, he has no way home. I did not see that ending coming. I did not see that coming. I was watching it when that popped up, when he was like, Peter Parker did this. I was like, did not see that coming.
I didn't either. I was a little shocked by that. Let's see. So future MCU properties that are definitely planned right now that have been announced. You have Black Widow, Shang-Chi, Eternals, Spider-Man, Doctor Strange, Thor: Love and Thunder, Black Panther 2, Captain Marvel 2, Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, and Fantastic Four. That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That is 10 properties between now and sometime past 2023. Then on top of that, you also have, where are the shows? Here we go. Plus you also have Falcon and the Winter Soldier, Loki, What If, but that doesn't really count. Miss Marvel, Hawkeye, Moon Knight, She-Hulk, Secret Invasion, Ironheart, Armor Wars, and an Untitled Wakanda series. So there's literally so much stuff that they can do. Who knows? You may be the leader of the Avengers by the time we get to that point.
As long as Benedict Cumberbatch is there, I'm fine.
Benedict Cumberbatch might be dead by the time they do this. He might
be doing Sherlock.
He might just be old and gray by the time that they get to this Avengers movie.
He might be doing Sherlock Holmes by then.
You're definitely not going to see an Avengers team-up movie before 2023. And you probably won't see one before 2025, maybe. So that's a lot of movies that could come out between now and then.
All right, well, that answers that question.
That doesn't even include the mutants. we haven't even gotten into the X-Men at all. So
if we will at all. They're claiming we will, like something.
I wouldn't start planning too far ahead yet.
If it doesn't happen in Doctor Strange, I don't know when. I'm just picturing the Family Guy episode when they're bouncing from multiverse, universe to universe, and Doctor Strange are just going to bounce around.
Yeah.
And if we see them, we see them.
Here's a question for you. Did you notice what the title for this episode was?
I'm drawing a blank.
It was the series finale.
Oh yeah, it might be
So
season 2.
Well, no. If it's the series finale, then that means it's done.
Right.
Right? Because
Yeah.
there was talk. I mean, I wasn't one of these people, but there were people that said, "Is it going to be a season 2 of WandaVision?" And I didn't really see it that way. I didn't really see this show as a episodic thing. I mean, yes, it was episodic, but like it's a movie. Like it leads into another movie. So, but the fact that they called it the series finale makes me think that they're pretty much already shutting the door on the fact that there won't be a second season of WandaVision. Although I was looking forward to having an animated episode and having, dipping into some more genres. Would have been fun.
Oh, yeah, I didn't go into it when this came. Even when it came out, I was like, "This is a one thing, one and done." So some people are getting mad about the season 2. Like, you should have known this was going to happen.
Right.
And it's not like you're never going to see Wanda again. We're going to see it in March, hopefully.
Right.
In a year, we'll see her back. She might even pop up in Spider-Man. Who knows? She might be there for a short minute. Who knows? She might be the credit scene. It might be the credit scene of Spider-Man.
Yeah.
So for people getting mad about that, I'm not too upset about it.
I don't think anybody's getting mad about it. I just thought it was interesting that's what they flat out titled the episode as.
Now, I am curious because there's supposed to be a Loki season 2.
Yeah.
And isn't Loki supposed to have something to do with the multiverse and Doctor Strange?
Who knows?
That's not I didn't know if that was a theory or if they actually said that.
The idea of what Loki's doing is he's traveling through time, and so who knows? It's very possible that he does, but this is now the second property in a row that I thought they were going to introduce the multiverse, and they've yet to do it. So,
well, we won't see it in Falcon. We won't see anything like that, I don't think.
No.
That's going to be...
So the next chance you're going to have will be Spider-Man.
Well, Loki comes out. Loki's coming out right after Falcon, right?
I don't think that's going to introduce the multiverse, though. That's why I'm not sure that that's going to happen.
Wouldn't it be cool if Loki somehow ends up back in our timeline, like he screws around too much, and ends up back in our timeline, and Thor finds him in Guardians of the Galaxy 3?
Yeah. It could be.
And I want to see him fight Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
And we need Agatha back. She was such a good actress for that, and she blew the door off the hinges.
He'll be back at some point.
So in Doctor Strange right now, we're going to have 3 villains.
Probably.
Possibly. Yeah. The Mordor guy is already casted. He's on there. He'll be a part of it. Because this is going to be a Doctor Strange movie, so it's going to be like the effects of what he's going through. The nurse who he is in love with is casted. She's going to be a part of it.
Yep.
That the guy just said he'll be a villain. And then you're going to have Wanda. This is going to be like a Captain America Civil War. It's going to be like this huge thing. And I'm here for it, but
we'll just have to see. We got a ways till that comes out.
It's going to be a Doctor Strange movie. It's not going to be a Wanda movie. It's going to be a Doctor Strange movie. And I hope that they visit. I hope Falcon and the Winter Soldier really visit. You brought this up, and I know you got to go here in a few minutes, but this was very interesting. When you brought up, we don't know how they're feeling about that 5-year gap. We don't know what happened in that 5-year gap. We don't know how people feel about all of this. We don't know what villains this has created. We don't know.
I think at some point they're going to tackle that. I think they're going to tackle what went on during the 5-year blip. Because we really haven't got much of that. But yeah, I think at some point we'll learn more about that for sure.
Because I didn't think of that till you said it, and I was like, that's a good point. And WandaVision kind of showed different stages of grief because everybody got what they wanted besides her and
Right.
Hawkeye. Her and Hawkeye are the two that really, besides Tony, everybody lost Tony.
Right.
But these movies are going to have to go into like how these people are handling this.
Yeah.
So like, I mean, I don't know if Strange is going through a lot. Maybe it's going to show what he has to go through when this is going through this. Thor obviously is going to have to show what he's going through, even though he's the biggest he's ever been. Chris Hemsworth says he's the biggest he's ever been.
Yeah.
I think he's training to be Hulk Hogan in a movie, so he's big.
Yes, correct.
Pictures were released of Thor. He's wearing like the 80s or 90s thing from the comic book. What other picture was shown? There was some other big photo release. Oh, they showed the fake Thor and Hela and Matt Damon and all
yeah.
that. What's her name? McCarthy?
Melissa,
Melissa McCarthy?
is she in that too?
There was a photo from the set that she is Hela playing the role with Matt Damon.
Okay. Okay. That's funny.
She has the Hela.
I guess I didn't see that.
Yeah, has the suit on. There was a photo from the set. I don't know how real or fake, but it matches up with all the other photos that have been released, like the surrounding. So we're gonna have those plays set up, and she'll be Hela playing Thor's sister.
That'll be good.
That's funny.
Good stuff.
Did I miss anything from?
No, I don't think so. I think we covered most everything. I liked it. I thought it was a good show. I thought it was a good finale. Did it leave me a little underwhelmed? Yes, but that was also mostly my own doing. Yeah, that's kind of my take on it. I'm excited for Falcon and Winter Soldier. I'm excited to get on here every few weeks and chat about that show with you too.
Yeah, Paul and I need to have a talk about this Luke Skywalker cameo appearance.
Well, yeah, we don't. That's a conversation for another day.
I do like White Vision though. He looked pretty cool.
I don't. He just kind of disappeared though. He looks cool, but after they had their little talk, and I don't know. That's where as great as the show is, that's where like these 30 to 50-minute episodes. I just feel like they're just trying to cram a lot into them. I don't know. It was just kind of weird. In fact, that he just kind of disappeared. But
I think that's why fake Vision, or the Vision she created, was okay with this disappearing. Because I think he was happy knowing that Vision had the memories back.
Right, for sure. But I don't think she knew that.
No, but I think that's. I have to go back and watch exactly what they said to each other at the end, because he referenced something.
You need to watch the episode on an actual TV.
Yeah, I had my headphones in. My phone was right here. But I had to watch, because normally I do what you do. I get up and I watch before I leave for work.
Yeah.
And then I have time with my thoughts at school. So if a kid asks me a question, I'm like, shut up. I'm thinking about WandaVision.
Quite the
I'm thinking about
you are.
I'm thinking about WandaVision or thinking of Tim Dillon's political advice. It's one or the other.
Jesus.
I have to go back and watch what he said. He referenced something about how she'll be okay, or like something where. But that Vision's going to be like the comic book one. I can see it. There's no emotion. She'll find out.
Yeah.
And it won't be the same.
Right.
Then there was another theory that the time stones are coming back, and I kind of hope they don't, because we got to get away from that.
No, I don't. Yeah, I don't. I mean, I think they'll come back to some degree. I think Loki's show might have something to do with that, but no, they're not going to really be in play again, like the MacGuffins, like they were during the last 3 phases.
Well, and then Wanda's kind of like a walking time stone anyway.
She is.
I'm curious. I kind of hope she's not a villain, but I can foresee a Strange. Oh, and the Ancient One may be coming back into Multiverse of Madness.
You just have all sorts of theories.
Well, I read those before WandaVision even came out. Like when they said there was going to be a Doctor Strange 2 before COVID, even and kind of during COVID, that was brought up. And now it makes more sense because they said the Sorcerer Supreme, which is supposed to be Doctor Strange, but this could have something to do with the Ancient One when they jump around.
Right.
And then you know what? We're saying this jump around stuff. It may never happen. They may stay right where they're at, and there's this tear in time, and things are showing up, and Thanos is supposed to come back too. I'm probably Eternals because that's what he was, and so he's supposed to be referenced again.
You have too many theories.
Deadpool's supposed to show up. Where's Deadpool? If he would have showed up at the end in the cabin, if they zoomed in on the cabin and there's Ryan Reynolds holding a cup of coffee or something like, oh, hello, I would have.
That'd have been funny.
So before we're done, because I know you got to go, I could do this forever, but you got to go. I have to go to a basketball game later. So what's next? Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
We got 1 week off. I think they're releasing some sort of like either a behind the scenes thing or something for WandaVision next week. But then Falcon and the Winter Soldier kicks off the Friday after that. So, and then that's going to be another 9 or 10 weeks, I believe.
And then Loki after that?
That'll take it into April. I have the whole schedule up here. Let's look. From a TV show perspective, I just had it. Where did it go? Yes. Then so Falcon and Winter Soldier is supposed to go from March 19th to April 23rd. That says it's only 6 episodes. So yeah, I think that's right. It's only 6 episodes. And then Loki is scheduled to start on June 11th.
Oh wow.
And then after that, there's no specific dates. But also between then, we'll also maybe get Black Widow. I don't know what they're doing with that. They haven't announced that it's been pushed back from May, but I know we're getting closer to the vaccine thing. I don't know that that's happening. But we're supposed to get Black Widow, Shang-Chi, Eternals, and Spider-Man all in 2021.
I guess Black Widow is getting released overseas in April.
I've seen that, yeah.
So I'm going to go to London to meet Benedict Cumberbatch and watch Black Widow at the same time.
Good luck with that.
I have the antibodies. I'm good to go. I'm just going to go.
Okay. Congratulations.
Until April. Is it April? Yeah, until April I have the antibodies.
Okay. Well, we're going to have plenty to talk about. Don't you worry.
Yeah, if our timeline move was good, I could do episode by episode, but we got busy lives.
Yeah.
And by
you're going to have a lot going on the next few months. So
when it's just football,
we'll jump on maybe at the mid-season, and then we'll jump on at the end of the season. How about we do that?
I can do whatever. When it's just football, I'm good to go.
Okay.
It's when it's basketball and football. But when it's just football, we'll be done at like 5:30 or 6. It's going to be glorious.
Yeah.
And before we go, Falcon Winter Soldier, did you see the picture? They're predicting, this is another theory, and I blame Brandon Davis for this. As much I would love for him to come on and talk to us. It looks like there's a funeral for somebody who once held that shield at the beginning.
I don't think he's dead. Well, I mean, he was an old man, so it's very possible that he died.
Because they're all wearing their suits, they're all looking at the shield. Is there going to be a funeral for Captain America?
Certainly possible.
And if we don't get a TV series showing the time stones being put back by Chris Evans, I'm going to flip.
Okay.
Because that's good TV.
Get off of that theory now, because that's probably not happening.
And I just want to see David Harbour. All right.
I know.
We'll talk more
soon.
I don't care about Scarlett Johansson. I just want David Harbour.
Okay. I want Florence Pugh, so we'll get what we want eventually.
Well, David Harbour just looks like me, so it's fine.
I know.
I can't wait for the fat suit scene. That's what I'm waiting on.
Okay.
Or like, it fits. Yeah, you got fat. And Stranger Things. Dang it.
Another day, Steve. Another day.
That's a whole nother Geek Corner.
We'll get there one day.
All right, do we wrap it up? We good?
I think we're good.
All right. Thanks for listening, everybody. Another Geek Corner with Logan Lee, who's my entertainment expert and producer.